so excited to attend the online classes nowadays. Am I right? Okay, very good. Students, what did we learn in our previous class? In the previous class, we have learned a handful of clay. It was a thought-provoking lesson, right? Did you all read your text? I hope you all have read. Okay. In this class, I am going to teach you a grammar portion, that is clause. What is meant by clause and what are its types or what are its division, its parts. Okay. What is meant by clause and its parts. And also you are going to learn something about subordinating conjunctions. These subordinating conjunctions are very essential while writing a complex sentence, or the subordinating conjunctions are the pillars to divide or to combine two clauses. Okay. So subordinating conjunctions help us to combine two clauses. Conjunctions means connecting words. Alright. So in this class, let's learn what is a clause, how can we divide a sentence, and how can we combine two clauses. Alright. I hope you are all ready for our today's class. Before that, let's learn an idiom. And today's idiom is hold your horses. Hold your horses. Have you all seen horse? Okay. Hold your horse or hold one's horse. This is an idiom used by the Americans first in the year 1800. During 1800, people from USA, the Americans used this idiom to say, wait a minute, or be patient, or wait for a moment. So what is the meaning of the idiom, hold your horses? Wait a moment, be patient, hold on. We usually will say, wait a minute, or please hold on, right? Hereafter we can use this idiom, hold your horses. Okay? Let me tell you an example. Hold your horses till we complete our work. Please wait for a moment or wait for a minute till we complete our work. Okay? So what's the idiom we learned today? Hold your horses. What is meant by hold your horse? Wait a moment. Wait for a minute. Okay? Just hold on. Hold your horse. Is that clear, students? Okay. Now, let's learn what is a clause, what is meant by subordinating conjunction, and how these subordinating conjunctions are helping us to combine clauses. Alright? Already we have learned the three types of clauses: noun clause, adjective clause, and adverb clause. Now, in general, it's just like a revision. I'll tell you what is a clause and how can we divide a sentence. Alright? Now, let's see what is a clause. What is a clause? Clause is a part of a sentence. Okay? Clause is a part of a sentence. It has a subject and a predicate of its own. What is meant by subject and predicate? For example, I like ice cream. I like ice cream. Here, what is the subject? I is the subject. This part is the predicate. Okay? This predicate talks something about the subject. The subject refers to the doer of the action. So here, who plays the major role? The subject, somebody, a person. Okay. For example, okay, here, this is the subject, doer of the action, and this part is the receiver of the action, or this part talks something about the subject. Here, Sachin likes mangoes. I like ice cream. So here I is the subject, Sachin is the subject. So these two are the subjects. The doer of the action. And what is the action here? They like, I like ice cream. He likes, Sachin likes mangoes. So this part is called as the predicate. It talks something about the subject. Okay. So a clause is a part of a sentence and this clause has a subject and a predicate of its own. Okay. Now I'll write another example. This is the girl who won the first prize. This is the girl who won the first prize. This is a complete sentence, right? This is the girl who won the first prize. This is a complete sentence. Is there any doubt? This is a complete sentence. Now, we can split this into two. This is the girl who won the first prize. Now I am dividing this particular sentence into two. Okay? I am dividing it into two parts. Alright. This is the girl who won the first prize. Here, this is the girl who won the first prize. These are two separate clauses. This is a complete sentence. Now I divided this particular sentence into two. And this is the girl is a clause who won the first prize is another clause or another part. Now I divided this particular sentence into two. Okay. Now this is the girl is a clause, is a part of a sentence. It has a subject and a predicate. In the same way, who won the first prize? Here also we can find a subject and a predicate. Okay? A clause is a part of a sentence. It has a subject and a predicate of its own. And this clause is divided into two types. They are main clause and subordinate clause. Clause divided into two types. What are they? Main clause and subordinate clause. Main clause and subordinate clause. This main clause can stand by its own. This main clause do not need any supporting system or side support to stand. Okay? So main clause does not need any support. So it stands on its own. But the subordinating clause or the independent clause, it is dependent clause. This clause is depending on the main clause. The subordinate clause is completely depending on the main clause. For example, here, this is the girl who won the first prize. Here, if I say who won the first prize, it is not giving a complete meaning. It is in the middle, in the air. Okay. So, it is completely depending on this clause. This is the girl. So, here this part is the subordinating clause and this part is the main clause. Main clause does not require any support, but the subordinate clause needs a support. Okay, it is completely depending. Subordinate clause completely depends on the main clause. Till this, can you understand? Clause is a part of a sentence. It has a subject and a predicate of its own. And this clause is divided into two. Main clause, subordinate clause. Main clause does not require any support, but the subordinate clause always depends on the main clause. It needs a support. Okay? Subordinate clause always depends on the main clause. clause. Clause is like phrase. Clause is nothing but a part of a sentence. Is that clear? Now look at these sentences. Though he is poor, he is honest. Though he is poor, he is honest. Next one. This is the house that my father built. This is the house that my father built. Now let's take the first sentence. Though he is poor, he is honest. So already I told you that clause is a part of a sentence. We can divide it into two. First is main clause, next subordinate clause. So how we are connecting these main clause and subordinate clause? To connect the main clause and subordinate clause, we are using subordinating conjunctions. What we are using? We are using subordinating conjunctions. So these subordinating conjunctions are used to connect the main clause with the subordinating clause. Okay. And thus it changed into a complex sentence. A simple sentence will change into a complex sentence when we use a subordinating conjunction. Okay. So keep in your mind that subordinating conjunctions are used to connect the main clause with the subordinating clause in a sentence. And thus the sentence will change into a complex sentence. Now here we have two sentences. He is poor. He is honest. He is poor. He is honest. So here we are combining these two sentences by using a subordinating conjunction though to form it as a complex sentence. Okay. Before that, let's divide this sentence first. Though he is poor, he is honest. Already I told you that clause has a subject and a predicate. And a main clause stand on its own. The subordinate clause needs support. Subordinate clause always depends on the main clause. Now, though he is poor. This phrase is in the air, right? Though he is poor. Is it a complete sentence? No. Though he is poor, he is honest. Now I am dividing this particular sentence into two. He is honest, though he is poor. Though he is poor, he is honest. Now tell me, what is the main clause here? Very good. He is honest is the main clause. How did you find that this is the main clause? Because here we can see a subject and a predicate. He is honest. And it stands on its own. He is honest. It gives a complete meaning. Almost. Right? He is honest. Now look at the rest of the sentence. Though he is poor. Though he is poor is not giving a complete meaning. And it is completely depending on the rest of the sentence. It depends on the main clause. Okay. Though he is poor, he is honest. So for its full completion, it needs something. And that is the main clause. So this part is the subordinate clause. A sentence, a clause, we can divide it into two, main clause and subordinate clause. Main clause always depends on its own. It has a subject and a predicate and a finite verb. But the subordinate clause always depends on the main clause. Now, though he is poor is the subordinate clause. It depends on the main clause. He is honest. Is that clear? Now, this is the house that my father built. This is the house that my father built. Now, let's divide this sentence into two. This is the house that my father built. This is the house that my father built. Here, what is the main clause? Very good. The first one. This is the house, the main clause. It has a subject and a predicate and a finite verb here. This is the house. It stands on its own. This is the house. It stands on its own. This is the main clause. Next, that my father built. That my father built what? So it is depending on this main clause. So it is the subordinating clause. Main clause, subordinate clause. This subordinate clause or this part of the sentence depends mainly on the main clause. This is the house about which we are talking. That my father built. Okay, so this is the subordinate clause and this is the main clause. Till this, are you clear? Now, what is the word which is connecting this main clause and this subordinate clause? It is subordinating conjunctions. Subordinating conjunctions are connecting this main clause with the subordinate clause. Okay, here the word that. This is the house that my father built. So this particular word is the subordinating conjunction here. And this conjunction is connecting the subordinate clause with the main clause. Here, he is poor, he is honest. Okay. Now here we are adding though. So though is the subordinating conjunction and this conjunction helps us to connect the main clause and the subordinate clause. If I say without the word though, he is poor, he is honest. In one sentence. Is it meaningful? He is poor is a but if I write he is poor, full stop, he is honest, full stop. So this is a complete sentence, this is a complete sentence. But to connect these two sentences, I am using a subordinating conjunction here. There is no compulsion that we should add it in between. Okay, we have to combine somehow. So he is poor, he is honest. If I say without this though, it is meaningless, it is not a complete sentence. He is poor, one sentence. He is honest, another sentence. Now, I am combining these two sentences by adding a subordinating conjunction though. And hence, this is a subordinate clause and it is connecting with the main clause. Okay? Now, on the whole, this sentence can be in three types. Simple sentence, compound sentence and complex sentence. So now, by using this subordinating conjunction, we are changing the sentence into complex sentence. Now, this is a complex sentence. Though he is poor, he is honest. This is a complex sentence. Okay? A sentence we can divide it into two. Main clause, subordinate clause. Main clause always depends, subordinate clause always depends on the main clause. Main clause has a separate subject of its own, but the subordinate clause always depends on the main clause. For its completion, it should be depend on the main clause. Is that clear? Now, what word is connecting this main clause and the subordinate clause? It is subordinating conjunction. Conjunctions are nothing but joining words. And, but, yet, these are coordinating conjunctions. So, these are used to connect two independent sentences to form a compound sentence. So, to convert a sentence into a complex sentence, we need subordinating conjunctions. Okay? These subordinating conjunctions helps us to connect or combine the main clause and the subordinate clause. Till this, can you understand? Here, though he is poor, he is honest. So, I divide the sentence into two. He is honest is the main clause. And the rest of the sentence completely depends on this. So, this is the main clause and this part is the subordinating clause. Okay. Now, this subordinate clause and main clause is connected by a subordinate conjunction though. In the same way, this is the house, main clause, my father built. So, these two are combined by a subordinating conjunction that. So, this is completely depending on the main clause. Is that clear? So, to connect two clauses, we are using subordinating conjunctions. Okay. So, here are some of the subordinating conjunctions are here. Time. To indicate time, we are using subordinating conjunctions like when, whenever, since, as long as, before, till, until. These are some of the subordinating conjunctions we are using to connect the clauses. Okay, what are they? When, since, as long as, before, till, until, and many other subordinating conjunctions are there which are indicating the time. This helps to connect the clauses. Okay, and it also changed into a complex sentence if we use a subordinating conjunction. Next, to indicate the reason, like because, this is because. Next, as, it also talks about the reason why I did something. Okay. Next, condition. Condition means at once you will remember that if clause. Okay, if we use the word if, it is condition. If we use this, if you work hard, you will pass. If you study well, you will win the or you will win. Okay, so here condition or unless, whether. So conditions, if, unless, whether. These are some of the subordinating conjunctions. Next, comparison. As, then, like. These are some of the subordinating conjunctions used to compare two things. Okay. Thus, on the whole, subordinating conjunctions are used to combine clauses and thus it transforms into a complex sentence. Till this, can you understand, students? Now look at these examples. I am happy that you like my idea. I am happy that you like my idea. Here, what is the subordinating conjunction? That. That is the subordinating conjunction and it joined the main clause and it joined two clauses. I am happy that you like my idea. So, you like my idea is a clause and I am happy is another clause. These two clauses are joined by the subordinating conjunction here. Next, though he is poor, he is helpful. Though he is poor, he is helpful. Here also we can find the subordinating conjunction which is joining these two clauses and now it is a complex sentence. Then, my father returned home after finished his work. My father returned home. He finished his work. So here I am adding a subordinating conjunction after. So this after is a word which is connecting these two clauses. Okay. My father returned home is a clause, is a part of a sentence after he finished his work. So here this part is connected with the main clause by using the subordinating conjunction. Is that clear? Students, I hope you all have understood our today's class. See you all in the next class, students. Until, take care. Thank you.